So I have 3 fun, unique fashion accessories for you to sew. Maybe sell. Make a little extra cash. I'll show you what they are. Coming up. Hey, it's Chanel here, bringing you weekly videos to help you get better and better with your fashion sewing. And be more creative too. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. Have you ever had the opportunity to sell any of the things that you make? Maybe there's a festival, or you're going to some little daytime expo kind of thing. Well, fashion accessories would be really fun to make, because a lot of people do bags and purses and pot holder things, that kind of thing. But what about fashion accessories? That would be more unique. Anyway, so also if you're new to sewing, these ones I'm going to show you are pretty simple to make, and they're a great starter for really learning how to sew also. Because to make a garment is a lot of work, and then to try to sell it, it kind of doesn't pay for itself. But the first one I have for you is the Shrug, and I actually made a video of this detailed on how to make it, so I'll put a link below, and also I'll put it at the end of the video too, the whole link that you can go see it. And I have the pattern for you too, you can download it. But the Shrug looks like this. It's just a simple little, it's got sleeves on it. It's an odd shape. I'll show it to you. And the beauty of this is you can make it with knits, you can make it with wovens, like a lightweight woven, and they're really great for over little sundresses in the summer, and then just, I don't know, they're just so versatile. You can also just roll them up and put them in your suitcase. They're great for traveling, and I don't know, people love them. So this is the first one. We were doing a tester pattern. The shape looks like this right here, and there's the armholes. Basically it's just an armhole shape here, and then you edge the sleeve, and then you edge the what do you say, this whole part here. Isn't that weird? You actually just get into it like this. You go and around like that, and it's on. So simple. 2 sleeves. But I thought I wanted to see how this works with a woven fabric. So I actually have this burnt out chiffon right here, and then I put I still haven't finished it yet, but the label, I got to put the label on right here, and that's fun. You hang it on the hanger like this, and then if you're doing a little expo, you wear it, and then you just show people it. It's pretty cool. So it looks like that. And then to just, throw it in your suitcase, roll it up like that. You don't even suitcase, you can just put it in your purse. Put it in a little, crossbody purse. Probably so simple. You just roll it up like that, and then whoop, and you can put it on if you get chilly like that. So I've made them all in black. Now I thought I'm gonna make myself some with white. So I found this white really thin, soft linen. Well, actually it wasn't soft, but I washed it because I want to get it all in that wrinkle state. So I'm going to make one out of this right here. And then I thought, how can I make this a little more unique? You can also add like trim on the edge. Pom-poms would be cute. Little pom-poms right here. There's a few years ago, pom-poms were kind of popular. And I was thinking, who does pom-poms? And then I saw it started coming out, and I was like, oh my gosh. But then I found this really soft silk jacquard in my stash, and it's pretty thin, and I thought, what if I dip dye this and make a shrug out of this? So I dip dyed it right here. Here's the fabric. So now what I wanted to do was, so I folded this in half. So here's how it looks like this. So I folded it in half here because the pattern starts on the fold here, and then it comes out right here. So I think the neck edge is on the light part. It was kind of hard to figure this out, but so I'm going to actually make the shrug out of this, and I'll show you how this comes out. I'll actually do a little speed up run through here and show you how this came out, and this will be fun. I wear a lot of navy, so I'm just gonna, you can just kind of go like this and then put it in your bag, and these would be great to sell. It takes about 1.5 yards of fabric and really goes together really quick. And the more you make, obviously, the easier they are. And then you can put trims on it or just dip dye them like this and make them unique, and probably, gosh, sell them for, depends on your fabric, probably, I don't know, 30 bucks or so. So it all depends. So, and then that fabric here, this was that stretch velour. These make great ones too. So this fabric you can get on a good sale too. So if you find fabrics on a good sale, think about making some shrugs, and great for selling. So here's a quick recap of how I make the shrug. Right, cutting these two out, and what I did was I lined up both fabrics on top of each other, and I'm going to be cutting them together. Sometimes it takes longer just to line up your fabric straight than just to cut one at a time. But even if you're making 3 or 4 at a time, if you got it lined up really well, you can just cut 2 at a time. So I'm going to cut these out, and then start with the armholes. All right, all cut out. Now I got to sew the armholes together, and I'm going to do French seams on this. I also have a video out on how to do French seams. So I'll put that in the link below also. What you do first is you sew them wrong sides together. So I'll just be sewing these 2 seams wrong sides together. I'll do a French seam. On both of these, I should time myself how fast I can make 2 of these. And this one, can't really tell with the wrong side. Actually, I think that one's that wrong sides together. It's the opposite, it plays with your brain. Sew the armholes, and then just do the edges. Have the seams sewn, 2 French seams right here. They came out really nice. I made sure I clipped it wherever there were curves, and then trimmed it really down to the end there so that it looked really nice. So that's the seam there, and it has just a nice French seam. Now I have to hem the edges. Actually, here's my white one too. I did the white, where to go, right there. And one thing I learned on this when I went to finish the edges here is to pink, call it the pinking shears, the edges, because this fabric, depends on your fabric, this was shredding so much, and then I hate it when all these little frays stick out of the edge. So I just went ahead and finished that one, and then on this one I went and pinked it right here. So now I have to, let me see, I got this started, press the hem. This is that whole circle, how do you say, edge here, and then you just press the edge down about 3/4 to an inch. I just kind of estimate it. I've gotten pretty good with estimating it. And then go around it and press and prep that part. That's really important to get a nice smooth hem. And then I tuck this under like that. I call it the 50-50, because it's just halfway through, so my thumb is pushing that under as I go. Let it cool, and then you have a nice edge, and then you go and stitch along that whole part like that. So it's real easy. And then the armholes right here are real simple. You put it on the, I'm going to put it on the fatter side of the sleeve board. The sleeve board's really come in handy with this garment. Actually, I have this. I love this sleeve board because there's no things that get in the way here. All those wires that they have on there. There's this one sleeve board I really hated because it got caught everything here, but I found this one online, and I have a link for it on my website underneath the tools. I think it's the tab called Stuff, and it has all my favorite stuff. All my favorite stuff. So then I just press this around here, just kind of around, all the way around. The pinking, wow, that really helped. So if you can cut in pinking out too, that really helps too. And then I just tuck it under 50-50, like that. And then I'll probably just do a straight stitch on this one. On this one here, have this all prepped. I'm going to pick out a cute little stitch of some sort and do it in white. It'll just be real subtle, but I have that machine with all the cute embroidery stitches on it, and do a nice stitch along the hem edge here. and give it a little extra finish. Voila, done. I love the dip dye on this. Just added a little extra interest to it. I love how it drapes in the back, and then, oh, turned out really cool. So here is the white one, and I ended up not doing like the really decorative stitch on it. I did I'm trying to think if I had the sample. I just did kind of the stitch that just goes like that, because I tested it, and I'm glad I did. And on this fabric, the needle just kind of, I don't know, you couldn't really see the stitch because white on the white, and then it just looked like a mess. So went with the subtle one. So it's always good to test it, by the way. Also, if you're gonna do any displays, like if you made a bunch of these, make sure they're on a like foamy hanger, and just kind of drape it in there, and then put like a little label on it. People love labels, and I think I've gotten labels at DutchLabel.com. That's a good one. There's one company I used for a long time, and they closed up after years. I was so sad. You don't have to do like a big order. You can do 100 or 50 of them. Now, when you're sewing these shrugs, this part right here is right in the front. So it's like right there. So you don't want to start and stop a stitch so that you have that little thread that sometimes hang out, or if you don't get it cut right, or just clip it off, then it's hanging out. So think about always starting your seams either on the edges here, and then also this right here, because it goes, the seam is right there. It's kind of weird. The armholes, the whole seam is front and center right there. The wovens are a little harder to put on. The knits can just stretch on there, but I like the wovens. I like that you can use any fabric with these. And then I like the tie dyeing or the dip dyeing, or I might even do one where I do tie dye it. And then these are just so great. And then you can just take them off. They're like a square, and then put it in your your suitcase or your purse. And then when you pre-wash a lot of this too, it won't get all wrinkly too. It actually have its natural look. So this is a jacquard silk charmeuse, and yeah, I had it in my stash. So it was a fabric I was probably never going to use because the color was just a little boring. But now I dyed it. Now, cool fashion accessory. So, yep, that's all I wanted to show you. So for our next accessory, we have a denim wrapped bracelet. Too fun. So I have there's a shot of that one, and then right here, it's just a frayed edge of a denim strip of fabric. And then a couple little tricks on there, and it's fun. You can actually just wrap them around, put a little button on it, and there you go. So you start with denim strip, and you have to cut it lengthwise so that you get the nice little tear of fray out of here. And you just pull out. Let's see, this was working yesterday. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So you just pull out the length thread right there. The cross grain thread, it depends on your denim, but it doesn't typically pull out quite like this. It has a different fray. You have to test your denim to see which way it frays, because I think the cross grain thread on here must be a lighter blue. I've never woven fabric, but I do know a lot about fabric. But then the length grain here is the dark blue. So when you take out the dark blue, yes, it is dark blue because I just took it out. So the cross grain is light, and that's what it gets exposed. So that's how the fraying works. So you get a strip like that, and you get interfacing, the fusible kind, and then you make sure it's within. You don't want it outside of the fray like that. So you want to just let your frame do as much fray as you want. Then you iron that on, and then you're going to have like double ones like that go together, so that it creates a little bit of body in there. You don't want it too crispy interfacing either, because then it'd be like crunch, crunch. It's not, not the canvas bag interfacing. Then you do a design on one side. So like this this illustration here is embroidered and added buttons, and you can do all kinds of things. I went to my trim box and I was looking around and I found this little flower thing. So this is how it looked. It had the netting on it, and then I just trimmed it off, and then I'm going to have to hand sew this because the sewing machine will crunch it down right there. So the goal is to do all your designing on the one layer, and then you take your other layer here, and then you have to unite these together, and then you're going to have to stitch it down here. I'll have to use a zipper foot to get it stitched in here like that. Also, you want to add a loop right here. So before you start it, maybe put it right sides together like this. Put the loop under there, sew it together, flip it like this, and then stitch it the rest of the way down. And then there's a button that will go on the other end, and then it just wraps around like this, like about 3 times. So I have this 26 inches long, and that's good for about 3. And then you'll just hook it into a button right here. So you got to get a cool little button right there, and then you hook it on there, and then it just drapes right there. And so fun. I love this little idea. This is fun to do. Like, I'm going to do this in my summer camps with my campers when they finish their skirts. They're like, what do we do next? What do we do next? And then I have them make scrunchies or something like that. But it's because I'm a fashion sewing school. I try to make sure everything's like fashion oriented. Hence the name Future Fashion Designers. So we do scrunchies, or what else do we do in there? I don't know. It's fun. I have the kids do challenges. I'll give everybody a yard of fabric. I'm like, okay, everybody, this is like at the end when they finish their skirts, everybody make something, but it's got to be fashion-y. So, and then they come up with some really cool ideas. So another one, I found this trim here, and this is just stuff in my stash. I have a lot of stash here, but I'm just going to sew that one on. I really like this one, and this one's probably just a machine stitch right here, and then I'll put the other denim on there and then sew it on the end right there. And then I found in my stash, because I actually got a baggie full of choices, so I was like, I couldn't decide. So then I found this one. I didn't buy it, somebody gave it to me. So and this is just like a hook and eye. Oh my gosh. So it just will hook like that. I'm gonna have to loosen it so I can get it on, or somebody will have to help me put the bracelet on, which is kind of a pain, you know. So it goes on one side, and I was trying to figure out how to sew this on. There's holes in it, but gonna have to do that. Then I'll wrap it around my arm and then hook it in. I have to get this loosened up. You don't want it too loose, you know. So then I think this will go like right around like that. So that would be another bracelet. And then I was also I found like this stash in my stash, and then trim that one. That's going to be hard to trim. And then I love this one. This is actually elastic, and this is good on here, but it covers up the fringe like that. So which is cool. But if I made this a little bit wider, so all the way, by the way, these are I cut 1 1/4 inch strips, tore it, and then the fray went off. So you can do it, you know, because you always have to allow, you know, for that fray in there. If I did this 1.5 inches and then use this so that more of the fray would stick out, and then because you can't even really see the denim much, and then it looks like that, but it would be cool if it looked kind of more like that, if the denim was there. So, oh, and then I found, this was another one. So another idea too is this was just an organza ribbon I had in my stash. You put this down the center here like that, sew it, and then do an embroidery stitch all the way up here, or embroidery stitch on your machine. So there's just so many options here. So just sew it together, put a button on the end and a loop right there, and then you have yourself a cute bracelet that will actually, you know. And then if you are doing little festivals, have those, they're like the arm bracelet things, or like the little stands where it's like a little black hand that goes, oh, and then you wrap it around there, people get it. And then also, of course, you have to wear one, so people go, where'd you get that? And you go, oh, I could tell you. So, cute little bracelet. All right, on to our next fashion accessory. Next fashion accessory is a simple sash belt. And I found this pattern in one of my catalogs. I believe it's a Berta pattern. I don't know how old it is. It's probably still in the book. It's probably had this book about a year. And they are just fabric sashes, like either hemmed on the edges or faced, like a lining on it, and then just using the buckles. This one doesn't even have a buckle. It's just kind of that goes to the front and it comes back around to the back. It has the skinnier strings. I would rather do this a little bit fatter, I think. I don't know. And then I don't know. I don't really like that one, but I used to wear these all the time, these kind of sash belts, and it was just like a long strip. It was like front, bring it around to the back and tie it like that. And they were so cute. And then this one's pretty simple too, with the little hooks that you just sew on the sides. They're really simple. That one's like this. So it's goes this way and there, and then you tie them on here. This is a small one, but they make them a lot bigger. But I have just a ton of these in my my little boxes I have for my students. And I got these all, I had a bunch of these. These are pretty simple. You just sew the fabric right in here and then in out like that. They come in square. I got these at a fabric store in Phoenix, God, probably 10 years ago, called Sass. And it was buying stuff by the pound. There's one on Indian School Road. I can't remember if that was the real name, but I used to go there when I was a kid, and every time I'd go into town, which I'm actually going next week, see if I can find it, see if it's still there. But I love just going through all the stuff they have, and it's stuff sold by the pound, and they had ribbons and belt buckles and all kinds of little things, and you just pick through them, and it's just like a warehouse. They just get a bunch of them, and they just, dump it off there for that. But that's a real simple accessory that you can really customize and buy a few beautiful fabrics. It doesn't need much fabric. I think 12 inches by 45 inches for a small, maybe a little bit. So if you get like a 60-inch wide fabric and you cut it on the cross grain, it's just a longer sash. But here is the one I made from the dip dye fabric right here. This was the dip dyed fabric that I did a sample with to learn how to do the dip dye, to see how the silk would dye. It's the same fabric as the Shrug. And then I lined it just in an ambiance fabric here, and ta-da! And it just sashed over like this. You can wear it long, a little bit looser on there or tighter, whatever you want. So real simple to make, and you can also add trim or beaded fringe on the bottom is really fun, and then also angle it, all that kind of stuff. So sash belts are real simple to make. Just if you're going to sell them at a festival, make sure you have like a display like that so people can see how they look. Because if you just have them on the counter, nobody knows. They're kind of like, oh, that's cool, but I've got to have a display, and then you got to wear one right there. So let me give you a recap real fast on how to make it. So to start, you need a 12-inch by, I got the whole width of the fabric, which is 45 inches here. That's for a little small size person, like about a 26, my dress form, 27-inch waist. So I was wearing it, I would need the 60-inch wide one, because I don't need 60 inches, but you want it longer. So you want a little more tail hanging out there. But I have so I have this 45-inch wide. This was the first thing I ever dip dyed, and it has a little blotch on there. And actually you can't see it very well when you're looking down on it, but when I look on it on the table, I see this like a blotchy spot. Do you see it right there? But practice. That was my first practice with dip dye. So 12-inch by the width of the fabric, 45, and then a lining right here. I have this very slippery, wonderful fabric called Ambiance. It's all rayon, very thin, feels wonderful, and I don't think they make it anymore, but I have was donated some fabrics, and there was Ambiance in there, and I love Ambiance. But China silk would work really great in here. And keep the cost down if you're making them for people. Maybe even a Georgette would be good. Poly Georgette. The poly chiffon's probably too thin in here, but anything. So 12 inches by the width, depending on the drape you want to do. So just different sizes. That'd be for a small. And it's just a rectangle piece, and I'll show you how to do this. All right, your pieces right side up, and your lining right side down. And I seem to be a little hair off of the width on this one. So I just want to make sure I know that. And because I'm using silk, I'm going to use silk pins. It goes together much easier. And I'm just going to pin in the direction I'm going to be sewing, and then I can pull them out. And it's basically just a 3 sides, and you leave the top open. So you just, a lot of people don't pin, but pinning to ensure that it all comes out together the right way. All right, have that all sewn, and I'm pinking the edges to get them a little evener, and trying to get so this doesn't fray so much. This fabric wants to fray like crazy. And I kind of clip the corners a little bit so I get the bulk out of there. And then just flip it inside out. Whoop. Now I have to go get the sleeve board and press this really well. Okay, I have like a umbrella bag. Okay, now need to press this. So I put it on the sleeve board, bring it to the end, and then push the seam over. Just get a nice flat press, like that. Both sides, and I just pick one side for your seam to go over. Get her flat. Okay. And then put that over, and then we got to get this part. Get it flat right here. Just do that till you have a nice, straight, flat, long rectangle. It's all in the pressing. All right, all pressed, ready to go. Looks good. It's make it nice, just a straight little part. This fabric is real slippery, which is kind of a problem, but I'm gonna make it a little harder to handle. Next, I put a gathering stitch here. That's that longest stitch, and then you just pull both threads right here. Clump them all together. And do 2 rows so that you can get it's nice and flat. The flatter this is, the better. Like that, both ends. And then I kind of have a little bit of an extension here, so it'll wrap over like that. So I'm going to tuck it under that way. And then I'm going to trim all these crazy threads, but not too close in case I have to tuck it up later. So these are these aren't D-rings. I don't know what they're called, but I had a lot of these in my stash. So they're just I want this part actually to stay up. So I'm going to put the right side up and over like that. So it's just basically sewn here. Now I can't get this through a machine because this is like totally in the way. I could if I did a real long one and I sewed it here, but this is really going to cause a problem. So I have to hand stitch this part right here, and I don't want to tuck all this under. So if I tuck under that one part there, because I don't want it to, it's the raw edge, and it's a torn raw edge, so it won't be too raw. It doesn't keep continuing to fray. You just have to work this, get it to control. This fabric is so slippery. Oh my gosh. Silks, you gotta love them. It's actually the rayon that's making this crazy. So I'll just tuck it under there best I can. Use the longer pins. And then, like that, just hand sew it there so it will look like that in the end. And then the fabric just comes up and through it. like that. I hand sew this, and then the belt is done. Well, there you have it. 3 fun fashion accessories. Easy, quick to make. Got my little wrap bracelet, my sash belt, and my shrug. I'm ready for something. Anyway, so let me know if you learned anything in this video. Give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment. And if you have anything to share, any great ideas, I'd love to hear it. And if you love creative fashion sewing, join me on Patreon, ThreadBosses. It's my membership site where we do all kinds of fun, creative projects. Go a little more in depth with projects. So I will see you in the next video.